Welcome to Sci-Fi Frontier. I'm Dominic, and I'm here with my co-host,
Wally,
and
Marie.
and we're going to be talking about the last few episodes of Picard. So I'll let you go first, Wally. What do you think of those last few episodes?
Well, quite honestly, it's been so long I can't even remember where we really left off. I can't remember what episode we left off on. Did we leave off on?
We have three to discuss.
There's three. The last three.
So then that should have been from the point where we found Riker, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that was the last one we did was the Riker one. So the last three after that.
Okay, so I guess I was a little disappointed with the 10th episode for the season. But the lead up to it, I mean, it was a little more interesting because the whole turnaround on Picard with the androids, and they're starting to twist Daj's mind to turning against humanity, and then they're gonna it's gonna be like it's almost like a Terminator paradox there, where the synthetic beings start turning on everybody, and then they're going to kill all their organic hosts just to protect themselves. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I got that kind of a feeling from the whole thing. I don't know if I really enjoyed it or not, but Brent Spiner playing his Noonien Sung's biological son was kind of a nice little twist, because he always wondered if Noonien Sung had any offspring, I suppose. So. Mm-hmm. I did enjoy that part of it. The whole battle was really what you were kind of looking forward to by the time the 10th episode came around.
Yeah.
And then once the Romulan fleet kind of showed up, like the design of the ships were just mediocre in my opinion. Like they weren't really weren't really definitive as a Romulan. Like you knew they were Romulan, but they weren't standoutish like they were in the Next Generation era. And then the same thing with the Federation fleet that showed up. It only seemed to be like two different ships in the whole thing, and they had, I don't know, like would they have an equal amount of Federation ships as the Romulan ships?
Yeah. So, they had a lot of Federation ships there.
Yeah, there was, and then like I said, you kind of just panning across them, really was very, very few minor differences between them. But I mean, if they're a warship, if that's what Starfleet is making, okay, I can understand sending a fleet of all the same ship. But I kind of miss the diversity of seeing different classes of cruisers and science vessels and all those different classes that make Star Trek. Mm-hmm. So that was a little disappointing. I mean, I enjoyed seeing Riker on the bridge as well. That was also a really good. You got that sense from him. He was gonna show up for Jean-Luc when he needed him, right? So,
no, one thing that was good to see him, but still it was a missed opportunity. They could have showed the Titan on screen for the first time.
Yeah, I know, but we're still at that point. Like the ship is 20 years old, so. And he hasn't obviously been in Starfleet for a while, so he's obviously not commanding it because he's not an active admiral. So he doesn't really need a ship to be, at his beck and call, so to speak. He got reinstated as captain, which was a nice little touch, not Admiral Riker. And then, and then he was gone just about as fast as he showed up.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a little disappointing, and then the whole Jean-Luc dying and then getting put into that golem.
What did you think of that?
You know what? I'm just. I understand it's a way to help Picard, run out this series and not have to deal with his neurological condition. You know what I mean? So it's a way for him to be able to, have one last adventure in space and continue the show on. But the fact that he is Jean-Luc, but he's not Jean-Luc, right? He's
like
his mind's in a machine.
Yeah. Which, yeah. Well, we'll get into more detail about all that stuff. So
yeah.
So what did you think, Marie?
Well, I wasn't a fan overall.
Mm-hmm.
There were some good parts that were okay. Like for me, like talking about how they put Jean-Luc into the golem or whatever.
Yeah.
To me, that was stupid because they have all this technology. Can't they just like?
Yeah, if they had enough technology, they can build them a completely new body. They could have just repaired the brain thing somehow. Yeah,
and they had that weird tool that could you just think about it and it fixes stuff. So like, surely they had the tech. Surely they had.
That's actually a good point. I never thought about that.
Like how could they not, if they can do that, how could they not have just been like, oh, come here and like, I don't know, done something and fixed that?
Yeah.
Because that would have made more sense than making him an android with the same lifespan. And I don't know, just for me, that wasn't the most logical thing.
Yeah, it seemed like
it wasn't very thought out.
You
make an excellent point.
It was like an overcomplicated solution to a simple problem.
Yeah, they could have, like, to me, it's like, why didn't you just do this, though? That seems easier. Then that other guy could have his golem and everybody's happy.
Mm-hmm.
But, they didn't do it that way. So for me, that part, like, that, I don't know, soured me a little. Like, I was like, well, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And then I can't remember if it wasn't the final episode, but it was the one before that, where that chick, I don't know her name, Karma, something like that. The one that went all nutty.
The gold android one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, when she could do the Vulcan mind meld,
yeah.
I was like, now don't get me wrong, I'm not like a diehard Star Trek fan, but even I think like, wait, that doesn't make sense. You can't just read a book and do something like that. And then I also thought it was weird because like, okay, so she sees the message by doing that, whatever. We'll just pretend that's not weird. She sees the message from Girardi, is that what her name was? The bobblehead chick?
Yeah.
Girardi?
Yeah, the bobblehead chick, yeah.
To me that's what I thought of every time I looked at her.
Girardi, the cybernetic specialist.
So she does that to her, and then so I'm like, okay, does the message make her go all crazy and then she's like down with humans? But then it doesn't really explain how the other synthetics all suddenly go like, no, they went from, hey, Picard, welcome, to like, yeah, we're gonna throw you in jail now. And you're just like, but wait, what?
And then they seem to forget that she murdered Bruce Maddox.
Yeah,
now she's like a member of the team again.
She's just a member with that other captain, and they like give each other a kiss like everything's perfect.
And
she's still you murdered someone.
Yeah, he still murdered that guy, and he was an innocent guy. He didn't do anything.
Yeah, so like for me, like there were certain parts of those last few episodes that almost soured the whole season. Because I was like, the things I wanted answers to or the things I'd hoped they would make sense of, they actually just did the opposite. And I was like, well, wait, what did you do that for? No, wait, why didn't you just do this? But like, I mean, I'll still watch the next season, obviously. But yeah, certain things didn't make sense.
Yeah. So I guess my thoughts on it. I wasn't happy with how it ended. There's a lot of stuff in this first season that doesn't make sense to me. I don't know if they're gonna keep going with the storyline or just gonna start a whole new arc afterwards. But
yeah.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but I thought the way that they ended that, like it seemed like that was just the end of Picard.
Yeah,
it seemed like a series finale.
Yeah, it's like because there doesn't seem to be any reason for him to stay on that ship now because he did what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, and now he's got a new body, and now he's just going to live out his days because that's what's going to happen. Now, if we didn't know there was a season 2 going on,
you would just think, it was all wrapped up.
Yeah, there's no reason to think.
No reason to watch this show anymore or even look for it.
Yeah, well, and the thing about it, like the more I think about it, there's more and more stuff in the season don't make sense. The more, because I've been thinking about it ever since the last episode. Like, I don't know, it's almost like they had two different ideas for the show, and then they had to change some stuff or something. That's why it doesn't make, I don't know why some of the stuff doesn't make sense. One, like, what kind of shape is the Romulan Empire supposed to be in? Because I got the impression they were supposed to be like a shattered race, decimated and spread out. They went to that refugee planet, and then that guy had that old, warbird from the original series that was after him, and then all of a sudden they show up with a huge fleet of brand new Romulan ships.
Where did that come from?
Like, are they are they like destroyed, or are they still a major superpower in the Alpha Quadrant? Like, which is it?
Well, that's the exact problem. We have no idea, right? So, the only way I could possibly try and explain this would be seeing that, Tal Shiar is kind of like a secret group, just like Section 31 is for Starfleet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if the Tal Shiar are
or just huge, maybe.
Well, yeah, if they've an intelligence community like they are, would they have been taken off of Romulus because that's too easy of a place to get
I don't know,
infiltrated on, like, you know what I mean? And then they have their own fleet because they're a military, so that could explain 200 ships maybe.
The other weird part about that whole their ships and that stuff is I can't remember her name. Is it O?
Commander O. Yeah.
Commander O.
Okay,
yeah,
so
Commodore O.
Commodore O, thank you. So she's at the end, her and Riker have their little back and forth, and he's like, I'm gonna give you a chance to leave. I'm like, why wouldn't you arrest her? She's been a spy. Yeah. What are you doing? Yeah. You're just gonna say bye-bye?
Yeah,
exactly.
Like you're gonna let her get away with all the Starfleet intelligence? She was head of Starfleet security.
Yeah, like you're just gonna be like, oh yeah, you were spying on us and you caused all this corruption and all this stuff because of like my understanding was it was the Romulans that made the attack on Mars, right?
Yes.
So
Romulans hacked the
did
androids.
So technically they caused all that death and destruction, and he's just gonna be like, you better get out of here now. And it's like, wait, what?
Well, the thing about it, this makes the Romulans kind of seem stupid because the reason why Starfleet pulled out of their rescue operations was because of the Mars incident, which the Romulans caused. Why would you do that in the middle of an evacuation of your own people? Yeah, like, why wouldn't you wait till all your people are safe, then have the androids go nuts? That's like it seems like they had like a different idea for where the show was going to go and had to change it for some reason.
Or it almost. Well, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
It's funny you're just mentioning that because I was just watching Next Generation on Friday, and I was watching Unification Part 2.
Yeah,
that's the one with Spock when he was still alive back then. Now, towards the end of that episode, they were bringing 3 Vulcan ships across with Tal Shiar operatives into Federation space, and then by the time they got discovered, they had decloaked a Derrick's class warbird and then destroyed the 3 Vulcan ships with their own people on it.
So maybe they're clearly not above that then.
So they're obvious. Well, maybe they're just looking at that as, we're using this as a distraction. This is part of military service, and this is a calculated gamble, and it didn't really pay off for them in the end.
Yeah, like maybe like one of those sayings of like the needs of the many outweigh the few. So maybe like they look at it as, well, if we kill these people, we can save others. I don't know. Like it just doesn't make a ton of sense, but.
Yeah, so it's not really, I don't think they did a good job of outlining like exactly what shape the Romulan Star Empire
or where they wanted the story to go.
Or where they want it. Maybe that's how it kind of seems like how it was written. Like they had a different intention.
Or different groups. Different groups of seasons, like different episodes had different groups of people, and it was almost like those groups of people didn't really know what happened in the previous episode, so they're like, well, it'd be cool, let's just do this, and they're all like, yeah, it sounds great. Like obviously I'm sure it wasn't like that.
They're really not thinking this through.
Right.
Well, and another thing too that I thought was dumb, like it seems like they were going to do something with this and then they just jettisoned the idea, is having 7 of 9 control that Borg cube.
Well, after all the Borg get jettisoned out into space, there's really not much point of having a cube without any drones on it.
But drones that's the other thing, that wouldn't have killed Borg drones, because they can survive the vacuum of space.
But my question with that episode, as someone who, again, I've watched some Star Trek, not all of it, how could, so 7 of 9 had control.
Yeah.
Right? How could that Romulan chick...
Yeah.
He even control anything to shoot them out to space. That part didn't make sense to me. I was like, okay, 7 of 9 was like, we are the Borg, right? They did their thing.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden, that other chick still had control.
Yeah, they could still open up the big, huge bay doors.
That didn't make sense. I was like, well, wait a minute. No, she's in charge of the ship, not you.
Yeah.
So how could she even do that?
Well, and the other thing, what happened to all the Federation, or all the other scientists that were on that ship? Remember there was a big crew of like other races and like where did they all go? They just vanished.
They just disappeared. We don't know.
That's true. I mean, some of them could have gotten sucked out into space, I suppose, but
Like, that would have been cool if the C7 of 9 in control of a Borg cube laid a smackdown on that Romulan fleet.
That would have been awesome to see.
That would have been good.
You're right. But, it did also seem like, the longer she would have been attached to the collective, the cube there, it seemed like she would get more...
Less in control, maybe?
Well, yeah, like, would she just become a drone of the collective again? Which is what she was trying to kind of avoid, because even before she disconnected, she said the same thing. Annika is not finished with her work, and all the cables detached from her, right? So
yeah.
So I don't know. It would have been cool to see it, but that theory that was floating around that this whole thing was 7 of 9 is actually going to be the Federation is going to be the initial onslaught of the Borg. Well, I still don't see that happening. But
no, I don't see that. They didn't do anything really with the Borg. They just had Borg in this it was almost just a set piece.
Yeah, like almost like it was just a background or something.
Yeah, like it was just there just for this one specific instance, and then that was it.
Then it didn't matter, yeah. And then the other thing, too, is with the Romulans, what happened to the boyfriend?
Yeah, what happened to that Romulan boyfriend? He just vanished.
He was in the final scene, and you see him, like, pinned down, and he's like, no, Soji, or whatever, right?
Yeah.
And then, as they're all, like, sitting around having tea, telling Picard he's a synthetic now, you're like... I was thinking, okay, they're going to show him at some point, right?
Yeah.
And then they just go off into space, and you're like, okay, where'd he go?
He still is a Tal Shiar operative, and he has his means of escape, so...
But there was nothing, like, they didn't even, like, they're
didn't
showing
even show him sneaking away.
Some final scene to show him back with the, say, like, we'll get them next time, or something.
Like, even standing behind someone.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, even if you caught a glimpse of him on the Romulan ship, people are like, oh, okay, they somehow beamed him aboard or whatever.
Somehow.
But, like, he just disappears. And he played a fairly big role.
Yeah, he was one of the main characters, that guy. He was in the whole season. That was kind of odd that he just, because I was wondering, where's he at? And then he just vanished.
Yeah, I was like, oh, I wonder what's going to happen to him now that this is all over. And he sees, I don't know.
Yeah, and again, you make a good point, but I don't know. For me, that guy just irritates me. I just don't like him.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think he's a really good protagonist or anything. So whatever they're trying to do with him, I'm just hoping that whatever he is, he's done, and then develop something better. Get a better villain.
I don't have a lot of faith that they're going to do that. I like your optimism.
Well, I'm trying. I really want a Star Trek to get going again. And it's not exactly what I wanted, and I'm hoping beyond hope.
Well, the thing about
it's starting to fall off the wagon. So.
Well, the thing about this too is Patrick Stewart is not getting any younger, so this is your last shot to have a good Star Trek with him in it. That's what frustrates me about this.
Yeah, I know, and I thought Patrick Stewart said he wasn't going to do this if it wasn't done right.
But
can you honestly think this is being done right?
No. Well, the thing about it,
he's in a contract. Can he really come out and be like, "Yep, this is shit"?
Yeah, he's not going to say that.
He can't do that.
And he's a good actor, but we don't know what kind of ideas man he is. He might think this is good. You don't know, right?
He might be like, "Oh no, this is great. We should do this." He's up there.
Yeah.
No, I get it, but it's just. I don't know. It's not really touching the base. You know what I mean? Like it's
not hitting the mark.
Not quite there.
Well, see, the problem is it's the same group. That's pretty much the same writing group that's doing Discovery, and they need to get rid of all them and get like actual good writers in there.
I didn't know that, so that kind of explains why it doesn't feel super.
Well,
yeah, it's the same.
They're trying to get some life into Discovery by trying to tie it in with Picard.
Yeah, and it seems like I read a couple interviews, like brief snippets from like people running this show, Picard, and it seems like they're going for like this weird like edgy in the now. I don't know, not Star Trek.
Yeah, well, the showrunner came out and said he hated Next Generation. So that's the guy that's in charge of this.
That's the first problem right there, then.
Yeah, because I remember seeing an article where he said something about, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically, he couldn't watch it. It was awful.
He said, I couldn't watch Next Generation. It was awful. This is the guy in charge of the whole thing.
So it's like, no wonder he's not getting anything right. No wonder nothing he's doing makes sense.
Yeah, he has no idea what the lore is. Then.
Yeah, and they probably don't care.
No, that's probably exactly what it is.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like, even like I said, going back to what I said about the Vulcan mind meld thing, like I was like,
yeah, it's...
but wait, have you watched anything? Even I know that doesn't make sense.
See, here's now this is I thought that was stupid, but I don't like any other race being able to do any of those Vulcan things, even the neck pinch stuff, because it was explained in Leonard Nimoy explained it himself. He came up with that whole idea of the neck pinch and the mind meld, and the reason he came up with it, so he wouldn't have to actually do any physical combat on set. He said it would cut out all the running, jumping, kicks, and punches. He said so. His idea was, well, why don't these Vulcans, because they can do the mind meld thing, and they have like an energy that goes through their fingers. So that's how they can do the neck pinch and they can do the mind meld. So it should be a thing only a Vulcan can do. Now I know they've done that in the past with the neck pinch thing. They've had Data be able to do that neck pinch because I guess it's supposed to be nerve endings or something.
That was it's a cluster of nerves that they touch.
Yeah,
yes, that happened in Unification Part 2 that I was just watching. So
and Data did the neck pinch, Vulcan neck pinch in the last Star Trek movie, Star Trek Nemesis, because we watched that 30.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's true.
He did the neck pinch again.
But like, see, to me, then now maybe I'm wrong. But the neck pinch and then the mind melt, like those seem like different.
Well, yeah, that's you can kind of
you're hitting that person's nerves.
Yeah, you're hitting that person's nerves. So maybe you can kind of get away with that, but the mind melt thing I think is too much of a stretch.
And especially because they were just like, oh, she read a book. She read a bunch of books.
And that's the excuse, the lazy excuse they give. Oh, well, she read some books on it. You know?
Yeah, and I'm not going to argue with you on that one. I'm not a fan of that either. So.
The other thing that I've been thinking about this about the show too that doesn't make sense, and I kind of get the feeling that they had like another storyline. This is why I think they had a different storyline than what they went with, or they had to change it halfway for some reason. But I kind of got that impression because I was thinking, okay, if those two girls, the two twin sisters, were on that android planet in the first place, that's where they were built. Mm-hmm. That Maddox guy built them. Yeah. How did that one get on the Borg cube? How did the other one get on Earth?
And why?
And why? If they did not want the Romulans to find out where their planet was, why would they take that chance to send them off planet in the first place? And why was Maddox off planet? Like, why was he out in that area? Like, that part, when I think about it, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, no, that makes a good point, too. Like, I don't get it. Like, I understand trying to keep them separated.
Yeah.
You know, trying to just have them blend in with society and
maybe as like an experiment.
Never find them, but you could probably go with that kind of a theory. But again, now that Maddox is dead, how can you get the answers?
Yeah. There is. Yeah, how would you get the answers? And why would she even be on that Borg cube in the first place? Why would she even
surrounded by Romulans?
Surrounded by Romulans. Yeah. Like, why would? Yeah, because I was thinking about, okay, she had that dream, and then she realized, okay, this is where I was made. She goes back to that planet. Her and her sister died in the first or second episode, but she goes back to the planet. All the other androids say, "Oh, welcome back." And she's back there again. And then, she was there before. So I was thinking, okay, and they all knew who Bruce Maddox was. So they don't want to they want to keep themselves hidden from the Romulans. So why would they even leave that place to begin with?
Yeah, when they're safe there, because the Romulans had no idea where to find them.
Yeah, that's another valid point.
Yeah, so I don't know. So
I don't know. Maybe what they need to do is get the old writers from the next generation.
Oh, that's what they definitely need to do. Yeah.
Even one of them, just something.
Yeah.
Yeah, somebody that kind of has an idea what the hell's going on around them. Because God.
Well,
I'm not thinking this through.
I think the problem I find with these new Star Trek shows is they're trying to be like the darker sci-fi shows.
Yeah.
Like they're trying to be, like all these new writers look at shows like the Battlestar Galactica and The Expanse. And those are pretty dark shows. And they say, oh, well, this is what people like. So this is what Star Trek has to be now. But Star Trek is different. Like, Star Trek's not that. It's it's supposed to be like the most hopeful...
sight of the future.
Like, version of humanity, right? where they're trying to make it dark. It would be like, say, if you're watching The Expanse, then all of a sudden the next season, it's all like Next Generation. Everything's all super peaceful and happy, and you'd be like, and the tone would take a total different shift. You're like, well, what the hell is this now? Like, it would be like that. But they done it with Star Trek. Like, that's the impression I kind of get.
Yep. No, you're not wrong. It's way too dark for what it is. And like I said, the only light you got showing is the original bridge crew.
Yeah. So, okay, so let's do this now. What do you hope to see for season 2?
Well, like I said, I would hope that they're going to get away from this whole Romulan thing. Like, obviously, it's still going to be a problem, but if they're going to try and solve this whole, infiltration of Starfleet and whatnot, wouldn't you want to try and bring your old crew back? Because that seems to be the crew that you had the most luck with solving problems.
Yeah.
So, getting Riker and Troy and Worf and Geordi and get them all back and get them all on the same page. We know there's a whole lot of crap going on. Riker should have a pretty good idea of what's going on now, so he should want to be helping Jean-Luc take care of this stuff.
Yeah.
So wouldn't you want to see that? Like, I really don't care for this new crew, Girardi and Rio.
Yeah.
I think
they just don't gel. Like, they're not a
they're not well written characters.
And I think too, throughout the whole series, like I got to a point where I didn't care if any of them died, not even Picard, and that shocked me. Like, I was really excited, and I was like, oh, cool, they got Picard back. And then it got to a point where I was just like, you could blow up this whole ship, and I just wouldn't even care. Like, you don't root for any of them. You know what I mean? Don't. Like, you can't connect with them, or I don't even know if that's the right word, but like, you don't care about them.
They're so dysfunctional.
Yeah, that you don't.
And like, they treat Picard like he's new on a starship and doesn't know anything half the time. And
they always.
I thought that was really
that
weird.
irritates me. That irritates me. I really hope that they cut that shit out of everyone talking down to Picard.
Yeah, like, he's a legend, man. I mean, you don't do that to a legend.
Or even like
you meet one of.
Yeah.
You meet one of the greatest of all time, and then you don't talk to somebody like that. Jesus.
Yeah.
I don't care what your history is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like the whole thing, it was just super weird. Like, you would have thought that he was just some old guy who had like maybe the money.
Just some random guy.
Who maybe had the money to fund all of this or something.
Yeah.
Because half the time you saw him, he would say something and they'd be like, well, I don't know. And they'd all be like, act like almost like attitude-filled teenagers or something.
Yeah.
And I was like, but they've already said like he's an admiral, right? Admiral, is that the right word?
Yeah, he's an admiral, yeah.
And a legend. Even the holograms know he's a legend.
Yeah, so it's like, but then these guys are all like, no, you're just a piece of crap and we hate you.
Yeah.
But then when he almost dies, they're like, oh, now we're sad. And I'm like, but you've hated him this whole time. Or you've treated him like crap this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just found, like, the most dysfunctional characters and, like, let's throw these guys together. It's great. You had, like, the one chick that was, like, I don't know, that Raffi she was, like, a drug addict or something. She seemed, like, high.
She's a drunk and a drug addict.
And then, like, that bobblehead chick, and you're just like, okay, well, you're just gonna murder people. Like, that's cool.
Yeah, that's a character that brings, like, nothing to the show.
Yeah, you were thinking, somebody who's a specialist in cybernetics would have a lot more of a role in trying to, help these androids, not try and destroy them, right? So but she's obviously brainwashed by the Romulans, and she's obviously not cured of that right now. So
yeah,
and like and then like at one point they made it seem like they were gonna make her face punishment. Like, they were going to take her to, I can't remember where.
Yeah,
somewhere.
Some starbase,
To a starbase.
To a starbase, yeah.
And now, like, oh, well, look, we lifted the synth ban, and let's all just kiss and hug, and that's fine.
Yeah,
and I was like, well, are we not going to take, what about her?
Yeah.
You're going to sleep? You're going to close your eyes around this woman?
Yeah.
Like.
Yeah, exactly, right?
Mm-hmm. So what about you?
Yeah.
So what about you, Marie? What do you want to see for season 2?
I would like to see something like the way the The Next Generation was laid out, because it is the Star Trek I like.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when you and I go to watch Star Trek, those are the ones I pick.
Yeah.
And as I was telling you the other day, I've been trying to watch from the very beginning and watch all the episodes. I would like that. I say I know it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But, at the most, I would like to hope for a little more, I don't know, what's the word I'm trying to say? But basically, like, have this story be smoother. Have don't just be like here, here, and here, and here. Make a story plot. Like, you'd be like, here's the goal of our season. If you're not going to make them individual episodes, like the way Star Trek was laid out, if you're not going to do it that way, have an actual clear, defined goal and timeline. Not we'll do this, and then maybe we'll go over here, and, oh, look, a squirrel. Have it be so, where you're just like, nothing makes sense. And if you're going to add a plot point, like, I don't know, just anything, have it make sense.
Yeah.
Like I said, like the tool. They brought out that fancy tool. Oh, bring this to your ship, and just be imaginative.
Yeah,
right?
basically like a magic can do anything.
It's magic. But yet when Picard is dying, they're just like, that's
nothing
really,
we can do. Well, what about that tool?
Sucks.
That super tool, all this like magical technology you got.
Yeah, like if you're gonna have something, have a point to it.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna have someone be a murderer and then be like, yeah, you're gonna pay for that. Well, don't change your mind an episode later because she's sleeping with the captain.
Yeah.
Just be more thorough and be more clear in what your story is. Don't just be like, start with one idea, because that's how it feels. It feels like they started with one idea in the beginning.
Yeah.
And then somewhere, someone was like, ooh, shiny. And then they got distracted and were like, where were we going again? I don't know. Let's just do this. Like, be clear. Yeah. Be clear. Like, if you're not going to go with that same style, which I love, that's one thing I like that's why I like The Next Generation so much.
Yeah.
Is because if you can skip episodes and you can just follow along.
Yeah.
You don't have to watch every single one of them to know what's happening. Yeah, you might miss a few points here and there of certain things.
Yeah.
But, like, overall, you can still enjoy that episode.
Yeah, because they're all one self-contained stories. Yeah.
Like, it's so, like, I find that very enjoyable. It's very relaxed, and it is a future that you would want to look to.
Yeah.
You're like, wow, look at this. Like, this is so nice. They're working towards unity and trying to, like, they only fight if they have to. Yeah. And whereas these guys are just like, eh.
Yeah.
Like, eh.
I know. I agree.
Yeah, for me, for season 2. Well, first of all, I think this is like a disadvantage of doing like these 10-season story arcs where you have one story stretched out over 10 episodes, is if it's episodic, like the old Star Trek, if you come across an episode that sucks, well, it's that one episode.
Yeah, it doesn't ruin the whole season.
Doesn't ruin the whole season. Then, okay, well, this one it wasn't that good, but the next one might be good.
Yeah, you have hope.
This, if you're doing like if your story sucks and you're stretching it over 10 episodes, now you gotta wait like a whole season. Oh, like, oh man, this season sucks. Like, when hopefully next season's better.
Yeah.
That's the disadvantage of doing shows like that. But a lot of shows are being done like this now.
Yeah.
Like, where they'll do one story over a whole season, one whole story arc. They don't do episodic television anymore.
I prefer that way, the episodic television.
Yeah, I think they're going this way because they're looking at shows like, like the DC hero shows, like the Legends of Tomorrow's and then Flashes and the Arrows and things like that, all starting to intertwine them and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that works
don't
for that.
blend this in Discovery.
But, yeah.
Sorry, you just made me think of something I hated. I was like, oh.
Well, go ahead. You might as well bring it up.
I was just going to say, as you're talking about them like blending kind of universes, I just said, oh, please don't let them blend this and Discovery. That would be like the worst.
The time frame is so far apart. They shouldn't be doing that.
They shouldn't,
theoretically. The only way they can do that is if they do a time travel episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry to say that you'll probably see that.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
And you really, none of us really want to see that.
No. As for me, for season 2, what I want to see is I got to get some better writers in there. And you've done this whole thing with the androids and the AI and all that. Okay, you went with that route with this season and you shit to bed with it. Forget it. Don't drop that whole thing and start something completely new next season.
Come up with something else.
Because this is not working.
And again, because of the way it ended, I think that they can do that. They can just
they
drop it.
Yeah.
and to just forget that season and then just pick it up from season 2 and go from there.
Yeah. Yeah, and go from there, yeah.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I also agree with you, Wally, that it would be nice if they could bring back some, bring Riker in a little bit and bring whomever else from the old cast that is available. That would be cool. I don't have a lot of hope for them to do it, but I do think it would be super cool. Like, I really enjoyed the episode where he went to, I can't remember the planet's name, but he brought Soji to that planet.
Riker and
Deanna Troi. I was like, well, this is really cool. I really enjoyed this. I'm like, I know it's not going to last, but I really enjoyed this. And
but there was a story behind it, right? They went there because they had a kid who was sick, and then the regenerative properties of the planet they were hoping was going to be enough to help them, and it didn't. So
yeah.
But at least you got
you understood why they were there.
Yeah. So
well. And here's the thing, I think, with Star Trek overall, like, none of these new characters are catching hold with anyone. I think, like, the original crew,
everybody had a favorite.
The original crew, they're just about all of them are passed away.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to start to see that happen with Next Generation in a few years.
Yep.
Once they're gone, that's it for Star Trek.
Yeah. Because they're not building characters that you kind of cling to and that you're nostalgic about.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
When you can't bring back, you wouldn't be able to bring back, you can't bring back Spock anymore. You can't, you know what I mean? You wouldn't, none of all those guys are, and then...
Well, not the way that you want them, not the way that you want to see them.
Like, you can't bring back Leonard Nimoy.
Yeah, he's
and then
gone.
It's going to be, at some point, you're not going to be able to get Patrick Stewart, because he's not going to be around forever.
Yeah.
And then none of the other cast are getting younger. So, I don't know how much longer, if they don't do something to get a better show with new characters that people
can connect with.
Yeah. I think Star Trek is going to just run out of gas.
Well, that's okay. So there's a good premise to the whole show is get the original crew of the Enterprise back, the Enterprise D, Picard's crew, and then start to try and inspire another crew to be better. And because he even said it was no longer Starfleet, right? So try and reinstill what Starfleet was and
what made it great.
And rebirth a crew that was the reason that Star Trek was Star Trek.
Well, you think about it, it's kind of like art marrying life, because they say, well, Starfleet isn't what it is anymore in the show, and Star Trek isn't what it was anymore in real life.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Yeah.
That's true. So
yeah.
And they really haven't gone that far in the future, so it shouldn't be that.
No.
It's not a whole a whole redesign like from TOS to TNG.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's been, 15, 20 years? What was it?
Yeah, it's supposed to be like 20 years or something.
20 years? Okay.
Yeah. Since the end of Nemesis to now. So
yeah.
So you could easily just make it like a mentorship. Like, they could be there and be like, okay, so you do this and da-da-da. And then you'd be like, oh, I kind of like this person. But if they keep the exact cast they have now, no one's going to give a crap.
Yeah.
Once, because unfortunately, Patrick Stewart's not so young. You're not going to get multiple seasons out of Patrick Stewart forever. He's old, and that's just life.
And he's limited to what he can actually do on screen.
Yeah, and you can see it. He can't.
You can't have him do fight scenes anymore, and he can't run. And whenever he runs, it's a body double.
Yeah, and I mean, and that's reasonable. That's fair.
Yeah,
but it's just. If something were to happen and he were to pass away before they're done with this series, there'd be nobody on there that you'd be like, oh, well, I can root for this person now.
Yeah.
Because right now, if I were to look at all of them, I'm like, meh.
Yeah.
That's fine. You can just go. Like I said, there was points in this season I struggled because I was like, I don't care about you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel the same way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
totally agree.
Yeah, so I guess we'll wrap it up there. I don't know, but not too much more we can talk about.
Well, I don't know. All we could do is just talk about hoping for the best with the season 2.
Yeah, that's about it. Yeah. All right, so I guess that's it. So that's everything we got to say in this video. Let me know what you think in the comment section, and we will see you at the next one. Thank you to all of my subscribers, and thank you for watching this video. And if you're new to the channel, like, subscribe, and share. And don't forget to hit the bell icon for notification when new videos are uploaded.